I think we're live now. I put a little hesitation in there because I've been starting early as I've been rewatching. Look what I did here. Hold on a second. We are Pandemonium, episode 5. I got to change this title here. You're watching me edit now live. Pandemonium, episode 5. And we're going to call this Romania versus the USA. And we are talking to Cati and Ana as they break down the World Championship in Nantes, France. This is okay. Now we got this title correctly. So, hey, I'm Mark Torres, and you are on our Twitch channel. Hopefully, we got people coming in to see my amazing guests. I got 2 super cool guests, and my intro for this is this. The first time I saw international foosball was in 2022, going to Nantes, France, and going to the World Cup for the first time. And I want to tell you that being an American and only knowing American foosball and only knowing foosball as essentially a party where people show up in their foosball tables, and then going to Nantes, France, and seeing athletes in their athletic gear that have been, and don't get me wrong, Nantes is a party, but they compete and they're athletes first, and then they party at the end of the day. Most people anyway. Some people could say the Brits have a beer in their hand all the time, but hey, the Brits are the exception. Anyway, I'm rambling. So international foosball is a thing. It's a phenomenon. And I was so impressed by all the competitors there, and some competitors really stood out for me. And I was fortunate to be asked to do the women's double championship gold medal final. And I couldn't be more excited to have Ana Bobby and Cati Sarbulescu with me. And so I'm going to bring them in a second. I want to introduce them first. And I got some, so Ana, she's a super nerd, like a super nerd. She likes collecting comics. She's an artist. She likes to draw. Just an amazing, like, fun personality. So excited to have her. And I also want to bring Cati in. And Cati, she's traveling around the world hunting for foosball medals. When she's not doing that, she likes watching tennis. And there's all these analogies with tennis and foosball. She likes quiz nights, video games. We're going to talk about video games. She's an avid Lego fan. Okay, she likes Legos. We'll get into that a little bit, but don't send her Legos as a gift. Whatever that is, I think maybe she has too many Legos, or maybe she's OCD and she has to put them together. And maybe what's the dude, the Lord Evil guy from the Lego? Maybe she's that guy, and she knows all the gossip. So somehow she has her pulse and a finger on all the information. So you want to know anything, you talk to Cati. I'm going to bring Cati and Ana in.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, you two.
Hey, Mark. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for coming.
Good to see you.
I hope that intro did you justice. I'm not sure if I know Ana just came back from a beer or two, and Cati was in the bathroom until like 30 seconds ago. You know that. She ran off. But what time is it for you guys?
Midnight.
It's midnight.
Oh, wow, man. Thank you for coming
and
on.
we're also boiling here.
Oh, what, really? Why? Tell me. It's like 100 degrees, or what's the equivalent?
It's 95 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh my
gosh. No, I do not know how to do the conversion by myself. I Googled it for the sake of this conversation.
If I'm doing the math in my head, maybe it's 37 degrees centigrade. 35. Is that right? 35? Is that right? See? Wow, man. Is it humid too? Because that's the thing. When it's hot and humid, you get a filter, like a little layer of. You have air conditioning? Is that a thing?
Yes, it is for some of us.
So, no, because it impacts climate change, and it's also disruptive for buildings. And I'm a former art restorer, so I'm against them. But I would love one right now.
And meanwhile, Anna's like, screw you, I have air conditioning. Is that the deal?
I did my dissertation, and I plan on doing my PhD in climate change, so I can save the planet some other ways, so I can afford an AC.
I already like the contrast. No AC. There's other ways to save the planet, Cati. Get with it.
There's so many ways.
So listen, comic books and video games. I'm way too old to love both, but I do sadly love both. Can we start first with can we start with comic books, okay, and how you
Sure.
guys, because I understand there's some relationship between comic books and how you guys met. Talk about comic books and how you guys met. Put those two things together for me.
So I'm a huge X-Men fan. I actually collect issues from the 90s and 80s and all that. But I don't like all the lore when it comes to X-Men. And one time we were drunk in a bar. We didn't interact much. We knew each other. And I actually don't remember how this conversation started. I think I went to her and I was like, Cati, I know you like X-Men. I really have to talk to you about something. Isn't the Dark Phoenix the worst story in X-Men? I don't understand why is it so praised. And she turned to me and she was like, yes.
Yeah, it's also the one I hate the most. I've uh Anna's the avid collector. I've just been like watching them since I was young, and I'm into the lore. So when we started talking, we bonded over the things we hated from X-Men and other comic books and stuff. So it was pretty good because there are not too many people, I'll tell you that do not like the Dark Phoenix saga.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
tell you.
considered the best
I'm gonna
for
tell you a
some
story
reason.
why. I think it was 1985, or maybe 80. Maybe it was 83. It might have been 83. And I swear to God, this is a true story. There was payphones back in the day before you were born. You put money in the payphone, you make a phone call. And I was at the comic shop all the time. And I went to the comic shop, and the big story that was heartbreaking about the X-Men was Jean Grey died. And sometimes in comic books, they didn't bring back the characters right away. So Jean Grey died, and she was killed. And then I went to the comic book store, and Dark Phoenix sagas. Jean Grey comes back, and she's the Phoenix. I called my brother from a payphone. I'm like, it was like a dime. I said, Fred, I got to tell you something. He's like, what? What do you need? You need something? I'm like, dude, Dark Phoenix is back. And he was like, oh my God. And he was like 7 years older than me. He's like 17 years old or 18 years. Like, dude, like seriously? I'm like, dude, Dark Phoenix. I was like emotional. I'm like, Dark Phoenix. Jean Grey's back, dude. Jean Grey's back. So you guys don't have the connection. You're like, Dark. Go. I'm listening. What?
I don't know. I know Jean Grey is a fan favorite, probably the fan favorite after Wolverine. I just don't get it.
It's
So
a
I
love
can't.
affair. And then I don't know if you ever knew. Do you guys know the story of Madeline Pryor or Madeline, whoever was Scott Summers? So Scott Summers. This is really nerdy. Scott Summers with Jean Grey and the love of his life, and this girl that looks exactly like Jean Grey named Madeline. She ends up
Yes.
being like whatever, the White Queen, or she ends up changing into some other. You guys just don't get it, man. We should change the subject. I'm heartbroken over this conversation.
We should make another episode just for this. I feel like
I totally
we'll talk
approve.
more about this.
Because the foosball people are going to be like, get the hell out of here with this craziness. I'm going to put the chat up right now. Let's put the chat up. Hey, what's going on? If you guys want to, now the chat's going to come up on the sidebar here because we got people that are talking. Hello to everyone out there in chat world. Foosball. Was that a foosball tournament you guys met at and started talking about X-Men? Is that what happened?
I don't think so.
Well,
Yeah.
how we met is she has been coming to football tournaments every now and then, and I would see her at our local bar, but we didn't really interact. So I was young, very young, and I used to like going to clubs, and at some point, for no apparent reason, hiccups start, right?
Hiccups, like hiccups.
I was rushing towards the bathroom to get water because I have the ultimate hiccup cure. Like,
She really does.
call me, guys. Just for hiccup cures. And I saw her and I stopped her and I was like, I've seen you playing foosball. You have to. I need another person to help me with my hiccup cure. And she was like,
And I left
yeah, just left me there.
with my friend, and my friend actually helped her while I was going to the bathroom. And when I came back, I was like, what's happening? She's not hiccuping anymore.
Okay, well, look. Okay, is hiccuping an epidemic with you? Is it something that like you're prone, that happens to you all the time? And I need to know about the cure now. I mean, what's happening there? What's the cure?
Well, I have to do it now. I've set it up You put
Yeah.
your fingers on your nose and on your ears, and then somebody else gives you water to drink, but you have to drink almost half a glass. So you have to like just keep on drinking it, right? And then
Yeah,
it
while you're like
instantly goes
this.
away. Yeah, thank you, Anna.
That sounds like witchcraft. That doesn't sound like that's real. That's a real thing.
Yeah, no, I was
It
I
is,
was
it is.
I was at the Hall of Fame in back in April, and I was coming down the elevator, and a couple came in the elevator, and the guy was hiccuping, and I was sitting there and being like, I
Judging.
can help you.
Yeah.
And I was like, just do this. And the second we got on the first floor, he on the ground floor, he did not hiccup anymore. I'm like, please just remember me as the person who cured your hiccups.
She's gonna be like, well, "That's the fairy. It's a fairy princess who appeared out of nowhere." We got confirmed. Hey, can you guys see this on the screen?
Yes, yes.
That yes, that is my boyfriend.
Perfect.
Oh, is that Rich? What's up, Rich? How's it going, man? All right, look, we got to get into foosball because people want to hear about foosball. And before we get into that, we're going to start this. I got the match loaded up, ready to go. You guys both have a reputation, and we're going to see it materialize. I'm talking about a foosball reputation. I don't know about any other reputations. That's why Anna look at. Yeah, Anna, your foosball reputation is this kind of whimsical. It's like a dance, and it's like a feeling, and you're in the flow, and almost like you guys know who Blake Robertson is, of course. Kind of has like get in the flow and the groove, and you see it, and you can hit it before they can react. And Cati, you have a reputation for being a strategist and a counter puncher, as you probably self-described, and trying to stay 2 steps ahead of the competition by internalizing what's happening on the table and kind of solidifying a plan. Are those reputations pretty fair? And I want to start with you, Anna.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been described, and I totally agree with it, as a very instinctive player.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because I really like the show that football can offer, actually.
Yeah.
And I really like the diversity that it has once you are able to discover different style and incorporate them into your game. So I'm actually trying to develop this more than playing strategically and doing the same thing over and over again just because it works. So I think, yeah, that's pretty accurate.
So like like the anti-Lin, by the way, the anti-Lin. How about you, Cati? Talk a little
Uh,
bit.
yeah, I think counterpunching is probably the best description. It's more, I have this like I've always developed like my offensive game developed very, very slowly throughout my football career, and also might not be completely there yet. But I've always had a very good defensive strategy, and I've always felt way more comfortable when my opponent had the ball. So it's like
Interesting.
when
That's
when
good.
when I get the ball, they end up scoring, and I get the ball on the 5 bar. I go like, oh no, what now? And why do I do now? But when they have the ball, my God, I'm ready.
That's very, very interesting. That harkens to a certain confidence with when you not having the ball harkens to a certain confidence. We're going to see that manifest. We're actually going to start this match because I want to. You want to say something?
Yeah,
Here. Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to add to this that it's also a bit strange because I think that there are not that many people, or maybe nobody, that has the same type of style, or at least mentality in like a defensive way. Because I never panic during a match. I don't panic if I don't score. I don't panic if I don't pass. This is fine for me. My plan is to defend, right?
Mhm.
Uh, and I sometimes like take timeouts just to like it's very rare, but I sometimes take timeouts to take a little break, and people tend to come to me to give me advice and go like, "Oh, you should try to score this, or you should try to do that," and it hinders me. That I'm like, but I'm not. Why are you panicking that I'm not scoring? I'm not panicking.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here's what's very interesting as my mind kind of lingers on this. It's been a long time, but I talked to these guys that played when the goal was smaller. They played on tournament soccer in the 70s, and it was a goalie dominated sport because the best goalies were the best singles players. For example, Doug Furry. He was like a world class goalie, and the goal was smaller, and they dominated with defense and counter punching. They could score from the back. They could score enough from the 5 bar and 3 bar, but they were felt very comfortable recovering the ball and taking care of the ball. So there is a similar vein there, but the goal was smaller. And I think that as the game became more offensive minded, especially with Tornado, it obviously shifted toward, and with the invention or intervention of the rollover. I think it is very unique and very different. I'd have to think. I think people that are natural towards goalie probably think more like you, but they're often not singles winners. And you did win women's singles at Orlando World Championship, or was it called the Orlando World Series last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
I
you
did.
and you were successful with this style of play, right? Well, obviously.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a circus show, but we did the job, right?
That's funny. Well, look, we want to get into this women's doubles championship final. I'm doing the commentary with Miriam, and I don't know if there's. I think it's kind of narcissistic to do commentary on your own commentary. So I want to try to ignore the fact that I'm talking. But here you guys are. Okay, how did you guys plan on playing this event did you qualify together? How to talk about you guys playing in this tournament together?
We've been playing actually together for 4 years to prepare for the World Cup.
Yeah.
But what's very interesting is that we actually trained for 4 years the other way around, with Cati as a forward and me as a goalie. Because coming back to what Cati said, I actually have a very similar mentality as a forward. Because I've been playing as a goalie for a long, long, long time. Like this year was my transition to forward.
Yeah.
And I know I don't have a strong free bar, and I know that I'm going to miss. I'm going to be like defended a lot, and I actually like don't panic if I do that, because I'm like, well, I already know I don't have a free bar. It's not a problem.
That's hilarious. Okay, wait,
Yeah.
stop. This is I gotta pause it. You just scored something odd. I don't want to rewind it. And you smiled, and there's like genuine joy. There's like joy. Is that what is it? Anxiety, joy? What's happening? What's happening right now that you have that much joy in this moment? What's going on?
For me, it was the fact that I didn't realize that was happening. And
I see.
I was like, okay, I just scored. What's happening? I'm playing a final. It was the first time I ever played something beyond first round
Oh my
in a
gosh,
major
really?
event or something like that.
Cati,
So,
what are you
yeah.
thinking? So you guys practiced the other way around for 4 years, and now somehow Anna's playing forward. I need to know how that mystery happened. And you're back. What's going on? Are you just like you're there for the ride, feeling the euphoria too? Talk about it. What's happening?
Well, yeah, it's true that we did for 4 years, and I swear there was so much. I put so much pressure on Anna.
Yeah.
I think in some moments she didn't even want to play with me anymore, and I would not judge her for that. And we did train with me as a forward, and I had this insane pressure on me that this could be probably the only solution, but because it's so unnatural to me, it really never worked. But before we go to the actual day of doubles, we
Yeah.
have to go back to 2 days before, when we were playing women classics doubles together, where well, Anna was physically there at the table, but uh, it's pretty hard to talk about her game. I think she was shooting the ball more towards. I was playing goalie, and she
Yeah.
was shooting the ball more towards our goal.
Yeah.
We were playing against fantastic players, Marina Tabakovic and Karen Scheuer from Austria, who won the event before. So it's also on them. But Anna did not show up.
Yeah, I
So
wasn't there. No, I
I
didn't
love it.
exist.
I
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
And
So after that, singles day came. We went past that. We both had decent but unsatisfying results, I would say. Um, and on the doubles day, we were seeded. We were seed number one. So we did not play qualifications. We had a nice rest. Anna came with McDonald's to my hotel room. And yeah, we started looking at the bracket.
Yeah.
And I saw our potential opponents, and I said, I know this girl. I could defend
Mhm.
her really, really well. So I basically messaged Anna and told her, go warm up a 3 bar. I will not let this girl score.
I was
Yeah.
so mad when I received the message. I was
Really?
fuming. I was like, why is she making me play forward? I won't score anything. We're going to lose. They're going to, like, who will score in this team? Because I can't do it as a forward.
Wow,
But I went
man.
and warmed up.
Yeah, and the so we had a buy, a forfeit first round, right? And
Yeah.
the girls that I thought would win did not win, and the other girls won. And it was a Bonzini match, and those girls were actually fantastic. I think they are the only girls that took us into overtime.
Yes.
Wow.
Um, and it was such a good match. They were Portuguese. They were so good, fantastic. Um,
I'm
but
actually a huge fan of the forward because
yeah,
she played old school and only tic tacs and everything and trick shots, and every time she had a different thing, and I had to pay so much attention at her 5 bar all the time, but also the goalie was defending so much, and it was,
yeah,
yeah,
and that's
that was
kind
one of
of
the toughest matches.
where it all jump started, right? Because we took a timeout only to rest, not to. We do not strategize too much. We have some things we do, but we don't strategize too much during timeouts. Um, and somebody from the Romanian team told Anna, Anna, just take your time, just take your time. I know that this is not her style and it's not mine either.
Yeah.
So how can you? It's very hard to ask somebody, don't play like yourself.
Yeah.
And I told Anna, I kind of whispered to her, being like, ignore him, don't worry. If you would take like 2 more seconds, you would be a world champion.
Listen,
A
man.
few hours
This
later.
this story is so damn cool, and I'm so look. It immediately jogs my memory. When teams, it's not like you guys have never played together in this configuration. And Anna, you're just happy to be there. And
Yes.
that usually, as a forward, usually that goes south. By the way, there are plenty of instances in the Tornado World Championships before the ITSF existed, where teams got together. They signed up right there, had no intention to play together. They played together and they got to the finals and they lost. There are some prominent examples like Carl Miller and Randy Stark, 1988. I think they met up at the tournament. They had no intentions of playing together. They won the championship. In this situation, it's a little bit different, and it's still kind of it's a real good feeling to know that Anna, you know your weaknesses as on the 3 bar, and you're feeling like there's no reason why I should be here, but you score like a freaking animal, man. Like everything you do works. And talk about that a little bit. It's just kind of like, look, I'm here in this moment. I'm going to be me. I'm not going to overthink it. Why is everything working for you in this match?
I actually know the public's feedback that most of the things that I do are just random and they just go in because I'm lucky or something like this. I'm very aware of this feedback,
Yeah,
but it's actually not. It's not random. I did those shots like thousands of times. I trained
yeah,
those shots
yeah,
in a lot of events, and it just got into my mechanism, and it's like automatically like I execute those shots the same way a lot of people execute a snake shot. I think the only difference is I just don't wait an insane amount of time. I only wait
yeah,
like 1 2 seconds because I see the free hole, and I'm
yeah,
like, okay, I'm just going to go for it. I've did this like 100 times
yeah,
before.
yeah.
Why should this time not work if it worked before, and if the goalie is not there? I can do that shot. I am able to. So why just not go for it?
I think this is very, very. I think I heard myself just say something that speaks exactly to your point. Let me. I think. Let me see if it's. Hold on. Listen. Listen.
And Anna
Listen carefully. And Anna, okay, can you make a living off that? Can you make a living off that kind of pot shot hustling play? Maybe you can. They got past Lily Andres and is that funny? Even in that moment, I'm like, all right, she's just a little crazy. But can you win a championship that way? I mean, even me,
Apparently.
well, look, I mean, there's a guy named Tommy Atkinson, and that's if you can see it and hit it fast and they can react to it, that has a huge runway, especially with people that don't know your game. Let's talk about that. Did Hannah and Sullivan know what they were walking into with you? Did they had they play you earlier, or had they watched you, or was it just kind of like in the blink of an eye they're getting hit with a tsunami of Anna Bobby craziness? What's talked about that?
Um, I don't think they could have known because I'm not a well-known player. I never played like at a high level, as I said before. Like this is the first time in a major event when I don't lose the first round. So
It's
there are
amazing.
not,
I love that. I
yeah,
love
there are not videos of me playing on YouTube, especially on Bonzini, which is pretty different
that.
than everything. And also, I actually think even if they would have had some information about my game, that would have worked against them because I go with the flow. I play like whatever I feel in the moment. So if they would have had like information that I'm going to do that, it's not
Yeah.
like it's not I don't know how to say it. I'm not
I'll
going to necessarily do it.
I'll tell you what. Even if she's done the things she's always done, like the shots she always picks, if you would have watched a video of her playing everything anything else than this tournament, it would not have helped you. Even if they were the same shots, she was a different person that day.
I love that.
I kept telling her throughout the day, being like, "Who are you? I
I
don't
love that.
recognize you."
So, Kathy, now we're on tornado now, and kind of tell me what's going on in your brain about how to deal with what are you thinking right now? Is look at you. She's a little, talk about it, Kathy.
I guess I think I'm good with the body language, and it's natural. It's nothing rehearsed.
Yeah.
um, it's I've never played Hannah before,
Okay.
but I've played Sully. I've only played Sully on. I've played her at the previous World Cup in Murcia in 2019, and she was actually the person who eliminated me in the quarters of singles, and it was a spectacular game, I would say. We went into overtime. I would win at Bonzini. She would, but I was doing a bit better than her on her table than she did on mine, and that was because I was defending her. Um, so all I did was think about that match. I didn't watch videos of her because I knew that match. I didn't mind the loss. I'm very good with losses. It happens. It's foosball.
Hmm.
Um, but I knew exactly all the things I did wrong, and I knew exactly all the 3 years or how long it's been. Yeah, in the pandemic, every time I was watching you guys play in America and she would be live, I would be like, she's going to score that she will pick that hole, and she was. And I knew exactly every time. It was nothing that I adapted. So I was like, okay, just trust the memory, and
Hmm.
trust your autopilot and all the things you've built up through these 3 years, and just defend like you have to. So that was kind of it.
So you went in with the
And
confidence. Go ahead. I'm listening. I'm listening.
so yeah, and she's tough. Like this wasn't easy. I have a lot of respect for the both of them. It was not an easy thing to do.
When you just jog my emotional memory about certain things, and I just when Todd Lafredo and Gil Jackson won the world championship in '78, they were 17-year-old kids. They didn't have any. No one knew, unheralded. No one knew who they were, and they showed up and they just played their game and they played with love and joy and they won the world championship. And it just feels like because you're playing against America's best team at this point. I think there could be some argument about who you would, if Hannah or Midori, but whatever. This team got to the finals playing together. They're an amazing team. They've won stuff together. I think that even though you're the number one seed, they feel like the Americans feel like the favorites. Anna's playing forward for crying out loud. She's never been past the first round. So you're thinking this is a dumpster fire, right? I mean, I'm thinking, but gosh, you guys play incredible. Now, I want to ask you a question. There's some commentary that we're not hearing it because it's a little softer. Were you racing Hannah's 3 bar to the corners?
Yeah.
You were racing her. Did you have
Yeah.
a read? Did you have a read on her, or did you? You don't
No,
have to say what
it's
the read was. Go ahead. Listening.
no, it's my normal style of defending. It's I race. I. It's very instinctively, but you see, I leave one corner,
Mhm.
and I just can see it. It's I can't explain it better than I see the shot before it's happening. Uh, and I know where to go. I've been when I was learning how to play, even if it's not true in competitive football nowadays, it was true in Romania in 2010, where somebody told me that the goalie has an advantage over the forward shooting, because you have like, they said, half a second more to react to their shot, right?
Mhm.
Because from the moment the ball leaves the rod, their 3 bar, there's a bit of time to after it hits,
Mhm.
reaches the two
Sure.
bar zone, right?
Those
Or the
those
goal.
mechanics, right? Mechanics. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, okay, perfect sense. Raise them, and that's what I did there on Bonzini. It's what I've been doing since day one of playing football, and so I felt comfortable doing it.
Yeah, you gotta have confidence, and you gotta have hand-eye coordination, and have anticipation and speed. There are plenty of people that can't race anything, but there is Lewis Cartwright. You remind me. I don't know if you know who Lewis Cartwright is. They call it the
The
Lewis.
shuffle, yes,
Yeah,
I've
the Lewis
heard.
shuffle. Yeah, yeah, it's very, very similar. And I just love the way you just smile. You just look up and smile like you look up and smile like nothing matters. I'm just gonna stay engaged and do what I'm doing. Is that what's happening? I mean, what's happening between your ears, man? You're seeing the hole, you're hitting it, your 5 bars, everything's working. Talk about it. What's happening?
I For me it's very hard to explain this because it was a very weird experience. 1 year before Nantes, every tournament for me was absolutely terrible. It was I didn't understand why I was playing so bad at tournaments. Why it wasn't about the result. I wasn't happy with my performance. I couldn't execute things the way I wanted to. I just couldn't do anything. So I actually wanted to give up competition of football and all that before Nantes. It was a huge thing. But
Yeah.
then I went to Nantes, and I don't know, I achieved peace or something like this. I was so zen, like
Yeah.
nothing was
Yeah.
going on in my head
Yeah.
except for the happiness of being there. And it wasn't just that I want of course I wanted to win, but I was so happy to go that far, even like quarterfinals, semifinals, final. I was so happy to be there in that moment and actually being able to perform the way I wanted. Okay, not exactly the way I wanted to, but close to that. So I was so happy to be there.
So it's such a cool story. At some point, does doubt, self-doubt set in? Kathy, at some point, are you like, this is going the wrong direction?
No,
No,
no.
no. Yeah.
But
Uh,
I did
I
panic.
I felt that Anna was panicking a bit in the fifth set.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was lost.
Um,
Pause
yeah,
right there. People that are watching or may see this don't know the format. Can you explain to them the format a little? I'll let you talk a little about what the format is.
yes. So we're playing best of five, one set to 5 points, and you play each set on your opponent on your home table, or you start on one table and then go to the other. Third, for if you end up in a fourth, so you go back and forth. If you end up in a fifth game, so you tie 2-2, you start, it's like in tennis, and you start by playing 1 point on a table, then two, 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 until infinity. So
And right
this,
now, what's the score? If you guys remember better than I do, this is the fourth game starting on Tornado,
yes. So
Yes.
right?
it's two
Okay.
one for us right now.
And you guys won twice on Bonzini, and they won
Mhm.
once on Tornado. And if they
Yes.
win this game on Tornado, it goes to a fifth game where you're going back and forth, right?
Exactly.
And so
Yeah.
we're going to get to that fifth game in a second. So I want to hold your thought on what happens in that fifth game. But in the meantime, are you guys dominating on each other's tables? Is that what's happening, or is it close on either? Is it close? Remember from memory. Tell me what's happening on these individual tables.
I would say the very first set on Bonzini, so it was 5-4.
It
So they
was
Mm,
had,
very close.
yeah. After that, we knew what to do,
okay.
so we were ready, and I think we became a bit more dominant on Bonzini, and yeah, they were definitely above us on Tornado,
Yeah,
more than we were
100%.
on Bonzini.
Oh, so you think
Uh,
Yeah.
they're superior? The gap was bigger on Tornado than it was on Bonzini for them. I mean, they were better on Tornado than you were on Bonzini. Agreed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but I think we did enough on Tornado to create a bit of panic,
Hmm.
to just keep them in check. Like, okay, let's not just pretend we're going back to Tornado and we're just winning this. I think we just kept them in a, like, okay, let's keep on fighting, not just try to win the set like
Yeah,
that.
we still put on a fight. I mean, we
Mhm.
weren't like we knew we are not as good on Tornado, and we were aware of the difference between the teams, but we weren't like we're not going to give up. We're just going to fight till the end, no matter what.
Yeah. But what also we were trying to do on their table was gather information.
Mm.
So it was okay. I would rather make them shoot different things. So I record all in my head, or Anna does all the things they do. So when we get to the fifth set, where it's not about stealing a set on the opponent's home table, it's about stealing a ball, and ideally two, but sometimes the ball is just enough. So we going into that fifth set, we had the information what we needed to do on Tornado. They also had information on what to do on Bonzini, and well, I'm spoiling it, but they
You don't spoil it. It's fourth game, and Sully and Hannah are holding serve right now. It's 2-1, fourth game. You guys have gone back and forth, and I think that for some reason I think it's clear now. I think the fact that you came into this in a Zen kind of, I'm just doing my thing, I'm in my flow, and I'm Anna and Kathy, you're a rock back there. I think that there are more prolonged, stressful moments for the Americans. I think the Americans have more moments of self doubt. I think it happens. I mean, you see. I think they make more mistakes, and I think your offense, Anna. I'm gonna just keep going back to it. I mean, Kathy, you're a rock back there. You block, you clear, you score. Anna is like a barrage of absurdity. That's everything is like going, man. And then you'll switch to a pin shot and shoot something conventional. Like you'll switch to a pin shot, then you shoot like a split. It's like a timed anticipation. The whole thing is the funniest, in the best of ways. It's such a great match. Now I know, Kathy, you don't clear as well. You still clear, you block, but you don't clear as well in the two bar from Tornado that you do on Bonzi. It's obvious. It's not your home table. What is it? She said it's a characteristic of Sully. What is it about clearing on Tornado that's different for you than on Bonzini?
it's not being used to the American zone. I think the American zone is way more
Mm.
aggressive, 5 bar with their 5 bar defense, and a lot of strategies that I use to clear the ball, because um I think there are the type of players that just want this idea of like a clean pass or a clean goal, but forget to use the entire table. So a lot of the time you can just like clear shoot the opponent's 5 bar and it will go back to your partner's 5 bar, right?
Mhm.
So why not use that only because the others look better? Um, but so they already took one uh, of the things that I use, and also I'm not as comfortable with the table. We do have one tornado in Romania. It's a bit too old. Um, I actually expected us to be a bit more better on tornado because we do play it quite often. Um, but they're good, man. Their zoning's good. Like I wasn't in tip top shape on tornado, but they're fantastic.
Yeah,
Hey,
it was.
sorry, go ahead.
No,
Yes.
it was insane playing against them. I mean, I knew the level, but I never expected to, like, it exceeded my expectations, to be fair. I just felt like at some point I just didn't know what to do. I actually have like one little regret that I on Tornado I tried to play with a snake instead of actually doing, because usually I play tic tacs. Maybe that would have worked a
Oh,
little better. I don't know, but their level on Tornado is just amazing, in my opinion.
Mark Krause is saying hi. I'm.
Hello,
It's Krause.
Krausi.
So say hi to Krause in the chat. And there's a lot of people in that are watching this. If you have any questions you want to ask Anna or Cati, any questions? The last time we had Sullivan on here, Cati was on as Aerial Souls, and she was gleefully asking questions, and Sully was, totally. This is a time to talk about stuff and have fun with it.
Hey,
This,
I I think
yeah,
that it's better that I was out in the open. I had questions. I'm a fan. At the end
yeah,
of the day, we are competitors, but I'm also a fan of hers and other players. So I had questions, right? I want to ask her
yes,
questions
of
only
course.
because we've competed against each other. I don't think it's impossible to ask her questions.
No, you should, and this is a great forum. There are these beliefs about competitiveness that some people want to withhold their information, and some people want to hold bits and parts of it. And there's this other feeling that if I tell people my weaknesses, which is what Michael Stahl says, and he did that in his episode, if I tell people my weaknesses, I have to be more self-aware of them and I have to grow from them. So I think it's awesome for banter, for entertainment, or to actually glean strategic information. And people are going to watch this, and people that you compete against are going to watch this, and they're going to look for weaknesses, and they're going to look for leverage, and it makes you better. It makes everybody better. So I'm a big fan of it. That's it. We're in fifth game now. It's about to get real. It's about to get real. So the format is we would swap tables. It's like one and then two and then two and then two to infinity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. You
Mm-hmm.
should Kathy show feature. You should make the Anna and Kathy show. This is the Anna and Kathy show featuring Mark Morris. That's what Krause's saying in the chat. All right, let's talk about this. At this point, what you're supposed to do is put it all together, right, and kind of figure out it's all. You got to put it all together now because now's the time. I'm going to pause this. We're fifth game starting. You're on Bonzini. Is there anything specific that you guys? I don't know if you guys talked about anything off camera. Is there anything specific that you feel or think at this moment, right now, in this moment, right now?
I crumbled mentally, to be fair.
Okay.
I
Really?
This is the moment, this is the only moment the whole tournament when I actually crumbled, and I was so, because I realized it's real and it may
Oh,
happen, and that scared me so bad. And it was so hard to keep into the game. Like, what actually kept me there was Kati, because she was like just a wall. She was such a wall, and
yeah.
that kept me in the game. But otherwise,
Wow.
I was so down mentally.
That is very self-aware. Go ahead, Kathy. I want you to talk.
I was somewhat serene. Um, I've I've obviously never been in the final of a world championship
Mhm.
before of like the multi table, but I've had some wins. Um, this is uncomparable, right? This is the one. This is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
But I just told myself in that moment, come on, I'm not afraid. I'm never afraid. I refuse to be afraid of a ball. I refuse to be afraid of foosball. So this is not the time to start panicking or anything. And I was like, we're good.
You
But
know,
then I did
yeah, go
not
ahead.
realize that Anna was panicking next to me. It took me a moment to see that her body language changed.
All right, I'm going to highlight some questions in a second, but I want to make one comment on this. And I'm going to tell you that 99% of the time, the 1% who have won the championship or are supposed to be there win, because this moment happens and most teams never recover. They become afraid. They second guess. They're afraid of the moment. The moment defines them. There's the line when a defining moment comes. Do you define the moment, or does the moment define you? And most people lose because they let the moment define them. And this is that moment for you. That moment for you right now, Anna, you're crumbling. You admit it. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm in a championship final match. I could be a world champion. And if you get stuck in that place, you're gonna lose. And you're
Yeah,
telling,
it was, sorry, it was like
yeah,
my
no,
problem wasn't that I got afraid that we are going to lose. I got afraid that we are going to win.
either.
That that
That's
was
equally,
that was what panicked me. I was like,
yeah.
we may actually go all the way and do this.
In the competitive theory is that's if you're in the future or the past in any way, you're in the wrong place because you're not in the moment. If you're in the future
Yeah.
thinking about winning or losing or anything else and you just get out of the moment, that's when people lose. And champions stay in the moment. And I think it's a wonderful thing. And I'll go back to 78 when Todd Lafredo won open doubles with Gil Jackson. Gil Jackson was Todd Lafredo's rock. He scored like an animal and he defended. And so there's a lot of analogies here I love, but I've highlighted, I'm going to highlight a few questions from chat, and I want you to go ahead and answer some of these questions if you don't mind. Go ahead, Kathy. You see it? Do you see the chat questions?
Yes. Is it is the difficulty in set up the ball for a pull push shot on Bonzini a bug or a feature? Well, I cannot tell you the answer, but any bug I can answer with like with video games. Any bug can become an exploit. So it depends. If you want it to
Interesting.
be a bug or a feature, just turn it into an exploit
I
of
like
some
it.
sort.
Let's see. What is? Go ahead. The question is for asking questions is great of a player she is makes lower ranked players more comfortable to ask questions, which is very awesome of her to do that. I love their honesty. Okay, that's more of a comment. I think there's another question here or a comment here. Very it's clear that the switch with Anna in attack works so well because of the trust they have in each other and the collaboration they built over the years. I had the opportunity to play with Anna in Bucharest, and she was always something. She was always
Open.
open.
He's
Okay.
always
Oh,
open to help
open to
amateur
help.
players with valuable advice.
Oh, there you go. It continues on. Okay, you guys can see it. All right, let's go. We're in the fifth game. It's on Bonzini. We know Anna is in over her head. She's in over her head, man.
But exactly coming back to the last comment, right? In this moment, this is even if Anna was scared, right? She was scared offensively, but I've seen her worse, right? I've seen her
2 days
really
before,
leave the
actually.
table. She left emotionally. Emotionally, it was very hard for her to handle it, but she was still there. She was fighting. And this is the culmination,
Culmination, yeah,
yes,
culmination.
of our relationship and how we work and how we fight together. How what we've I didn't realize it until that day and maybe until this second that what we worked on for 4 years wasn't me playing forward and her playing goalie and practicing passes and
Mm,
practicing shots. No, it was building our the foundation of our relationship and the trust and how we fight together. Because it's
yeah,
so rare, it's so rare to find people that actually fight next to you on the table. It's
yeah,
and
yeah.
we were lucky to find each other.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
That's great that what you worked on for 4 years was not your strategy and your competitive theory, it was your relationship. Your foosball spouses. I want to rewind this for a second. Hold on. See, that's what I hate about this. I rewind too. Is this? Wait. Did I go back too far? Or I go forward. What do I do here?
No, you went
Oh,
forward.
no, I don't want to do
This is
that.
too far.
I want to see this right here. Okay, so you guys are up 2-0 on Bonzini.
Oh,
right?
I think you want to go just a bit more. I think you want to see the ball before.
Is that the ball that you? Let's see.
No, we even
Oh, yeah, yeah,
nah,
yeah,
there
yeah.
we
Hold on a
go.
second. Let's see. So you guys played one ball on Bonzini. Now you're two balls on Tornado. Is that what it
Hmm.
Yes.
is? Okay. You got a little moving pull shot.
Ah, that's disbelief right there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. The look in your eyes, like, holy smokes, we'll take it. We'll take it. At this point, can you tell by looking at Sully and Hannah that the stress is building on them? The pressure is building on them after because you feel like you're behind when they score on your table. Um, what's the purpose of the timeout here? Why'd you call timeout here?
Offensive switch.
Okay, got it.
Uh, so I think
Ooh, ooh,
I'm tapping the table even now.
yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was
Yeah,
ugly.
Anna
That's ugly.
Anna was I think we were we were 50-50 on who actually would like try to score on tornado from the three
Tornado.
bar,
Yeah,
but um I think because of her emotional state at the moment, it was a better decision, though a lucky one, a better
yeah,
decision for me to go forward in that moment. But on Bonzini, I mean, she's trying, she's there.
yeah, yeah. Am I to understand right now? And I know I'm in the corner talking about it, but if you guys get to five first, you win the championship.
Hmm.
It's got to be
Yes.
win by two, though. It's win by two, right?
It's
No,
win
it's
by
going.
two.
If you make it 4-4, then it's a win by two to infinity.
Okay, okay, got it.
If it's like 5-3, 5-2,
Yeah, it's
five
over.
one, or whatever, you win to five. But otherwise, after 4-4, it goes in overtime.
Yeah. So, ooh, I wonder if she's rushing a little bit. Okay, I want to talk to you about this in a second. Uh, are you racing her, Kathy? Are you anticipating?
Yeah.
Okay. What
But
she's
she is a bit more limited on Bonzini. With no offense,
yeah,
uh, but she is a bit like she can't go as deep as she wants to with some things. I don't think Sully is rushing, in my opinion. Uh, Playing her on Tornado, she's not. I don't think she rushes. She reads very fast. She picks her hole very well.
mhm,
She's trained all her shots a billion times probably by this point. So as Anna said earlier, if the hole is there, she's a fast reader, go for it. And
yeah,
it normally works for her. But on Banzini, it's a different case because it's not exactly the same thing you've practiced, right?
yeah. I think it's amazing what you're doing defensively. You straight raced Hannah to the pull side, and you don't have a read. You're saying that you're like seeing it before she goes, and you're getting there before her.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're on the right side of the table. You should you should be a soccer goalie. You block everything. Ooh. And I said the same thing. Ooh, oh my gosh, you guys look at this.
Oh,
This is
now it became scary. Now
yeah,
it's scary.
yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was even worse.
Why? Because you feel like you're about to be the world champions. You
Yeah,
feel
it was
yeah,
like 5-0. This may actually happen. This is just. Oh, it was such a roller coaster of emotions.
yeah.
I have a friend who was taking a video from the stands at this score, and I think this is a glorious moment when I'm going to miss a few shots. I think right here, three in a row or something like that, and you can hear him
Oh,
on the record. Yeah, she's never going to score. She's just too scared right now.
well, it's on goal at least. It's on goal because it was awesome because you're executing. It's good defense because she's in front of it.
Yeah, no, I actually think they changed their defense very well and adapted very quick to what I was doing, because it wasn't a matter of me not executing what I wanted, because I was executing well, but they were properly defending me. They were there every time. And also they kind of closed my favorite options.
Shh, don't say that.
I mean, it's true.
I remember. I
No, now
still
it's
remember.
out.
I still remember the stress. I was feeling completely stressed. Miriam couldn't help herself but root for the Americans. I was trying to be agnostic and not lean in any direction. And I was
Mariam's
such a
actually a good friend of ours,
oh yeah.
but we do understand that in this type of format, right?
Yeah.
It's you do go more for your country. I
Yeah.
considered blocking Mariam on social media after, but she's too nice.
No, look,
Yeah, she's just a
I'm,
sweetheart.
at this point right now, it's 3 or 4 days in international foosball for the first time, and I couldn't help but be a fan of the moment. Like I was a fan of the experience. Maybe I was more leaning nationalism in one direction or the other early on, but at this point, I'm just a fan of this experience. And they're climbing back in. Where's your guys? You guys anxiety picking up a little bit at this point,
Ah,
or no?
yes. Right now, I try to score from the 5 bar, and as you can see from my reaction, it did not go well. So right now,
Yeah.
I'm whispering to Anna as we go back to Bonzini, being like, "I'm sorry, it's who I am."
Yeah, no, it's great. And if they score this point, it's going to be win by 2, right?
Yes, yes.
All right. Yeah. Wow, man. The timeout. Is it a team timeout or one of those? You're just walking up to the table, so much joy or whatever, anxious glee. I don't know, Anna, but it's fun, and it's amazing.
I can't describe it. I was like,
Ah,
Yeah.
she tried to shoot from the 5 bar.
that's another fun fact about our matches. So we played 5 matches.
Yeah.
I never scored the last ball from the free bar. Cati scored
Wow.
a 2 bar in 2 or 3 of them,
Yeah.
and the other ones were won by a 5 bar.
That's so good. 3 bar disappears, but you get it done. You get the job done,
Yeah, I
right?
actually like during the timeout before
Oh,
we
what
were
a
that
pass!
pass. This is where I missed 3 times in a row. I remember
Oh
this.
my
Just look at
gosh.
me.
You're
After
trying
catching
to give it
that.
away. You're trying to give it. Ooh, what a save!
Yeah. Jesus, this is so much.
Oh, there it is. Wow, man, it's all coming back. That is so good.
I'll tell you what that reaction was.
What?
That reaction was years and years of emotion and pain. It was a backpack that I put down in that second. It
Wow.
was all the hard work and all the sacrifices I've made throughout my life, which maybe there's just a bit more than Anna because I have a few more years. And
Yeah.
that moment, it wasn't because I would like just to clarify this because some people were like, "Oh yeah, you were screaming in Sully's face." No, Sully just happened to be in that direction.
No, it's so.
I was. It's like all of the demons that were in my body just left
Yeah,
through my mouth in that moment.
that's beautiful. Look, that's a really a beautiful thing to say. I never got that impression that was directed at anybody in any. This is a real world championship. Like this is the world freaking championship, multi-table. It is a lifetime thing, and I love to imagine you do it again, but you may only do it one time ever, and the first time you do it is the sweetest. So your reaction in that moment, who gives a shit what anyone thinks about your reaction in that moment? I mean, Anna, what
Oh,
would you go ahead? I'm listening.
I don't care. I just want to make sure it doesn't come up as disrespectful.
Who cares?
I actually I would like to add something. I never it never occurred to me that someone would think this about her reaction
Yeah,
because I know her very well, and I think it was the perfect representation of her of how much of a fighter she is,
yeah,
because she's such a fighter, and actually sometimes she keeps me into the game because I for me it's sometimes hard to concentrate and to be into the match, but seeing how much of a fighter she is, she just drags me and makes me fight with her. And
yeah,
when I saw her reaction, I was like, this is exactly the warrior she is.
yeah. Look, it's difficult. I see people in all types of sports win a championship. And the first thing, the respectful thing to do is probably to go shake hands, and whatever. You know how many times I've seen foosball matches end in a championship, and the first thing they do is hug each other and high five everyone else, and the poor people on the other side of the table just sitting there waiting to like shake hands. Like, you're emotional, man. You're connected to that moment, and there's no. I don't even believe. I don't even know. I don't know if Sully saw it that way, but if she did see it that way, I could. I think I know you guys well enough to know it wasn't malicious. Like, hey, in your face, we're the champions. Did you guys? Gosh, man, like what? How do you top that? Have you guys stopped playing together? Is that what's happened now? You guys got I mean, what's next? You guys got other turn. I mean, I don't even know where to go with this, man. What happens next for you guys in doubles?
Anna?
Uh, we are winning everything in doubles apparently right now.
All right. Yeah.
We played two more tournaments together,
Yeah.
one in Bratislava and one in Sofia, and we
Yeah.
won both of them in women doubles.
Wow. Amazing.
But-
Tournaments we've not won before.
Yes, we were never able to win those tournaments before, and
Yeah.
we actually played with Cati as a forward and me as a goalie these tournaments.
Wow. Are you playing more goalie now than forward after that event? Or what how's that working? And how about you? I mean, what's happening here in doubles?
It's it's mostly the fact that we did not play on Bonzini. We played on Dion Hart and on Rosengard. Fantastic table. And on those table, I think I can be a bit better as forward, while on Bonzini I'm better as a goalie and Anna's better as a forward.
That's lovely. We got a question from Krause, and he's asking, what's next? What's coming up next for you guys?
The world.
I mean,
We don't know.
you got a tournament coming up. I know you're on a reprieve. You're trying to take a break from foosball, Cati, because you've been playing a ton, right? And you got Garlando World Series coming up. Anna, you still in play? You still playing? You anticipating a tournament? Coming up?
Yes, I'm going to Garlando World Series. The problem is for the last 1 or 2 months, I had huge issues with my arm. And like at some point I wasn't even able to hold the rods, but I just can't give up on playing, even if it hurts so much. I'm just going to tournaments, I'm just playing, and the next one is Garlando. I have no idea what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is that the same for you?
For me it's also Garlando, but I'm right now taking a break from at least one more week from training, because I would like to keep my head in check. Like for me, the mental training, so to say, is very important. And I've won Garlando in women's singles last year, so it's a feeling. I've won some doubles tournaments, and I'm used to that feeling of going in as as a defending champion, but I've never done it in singles. So for me right now, it's very important to keep my head in check of like the moment where I get there that day, and I get this added pressure, because it's fine to get it. I think it's very hard to avoid it. I just need to be prepared for it and to accept it
Yeah. It's
and make it
important.
part of the game in that day.
You're describing in some ways the potential burnout that happens when you overplay and you need the stimulus changes for you, and that has all these layers to it. But I appreciate you saying, "Look, I just need I need to calibrate a little bit and get it into the mindset that these feelings are good and fresh when you compete again." You got another question in here. Check out that question. What's that top question for Morthaz?
Who's the best female player of all time? It's a tough one.
It's a huge discussion. I can say who's my favorite female player. It's Samantha Di Paolo. For me, it's just the way she plays is what I want to achieve in foosball. I'm a huge fan of her, and I actually had the opportunity to play against her in Nantes in singles, and I think that was one of the best experiences I've ever had. It was absolutely amazing.
How about you, Cati?
I think it's if you would have asked me 3 years ago, it would have still been a very hard answer, but because of all time, it's it's Lynn. It's She's been playing for 3 years, but somehow I think she's the best of all times. If she would compete with other players from in who are like in their hottest era, let's say, I think she would still win, or at least give them a hard time,
Mm,
because there's also a discussion, right, of different tables. You can't It's very hard because there are
mm,
amazing players on Bonzini, on Garlando, on Tornado, on all of them. But I think Lynn right now is in a different league than all the players that came before her.
Why?
And
Why do you
she,
think? What separates her? Go ahead, Anna. I don't want to cut you
I just wanted to add that she proved this at Tornado Worlds when she
off.
won the pro event. I think that was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I never imagined something like that to happen. It's just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's hard work, it's discipline, it's understanding at every point weaknesses and improving them. It's There are very few players, I think, that when they are approached and they're like, okay, your 3 bar is slow, or you have a tell on your 5 bar, or you have this problem, they either start arguing and saying like, no, 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 I'm having a bad day, or
Yeah.
whatever. uh she doesn't. She goes like, oh really? ah then runs to the table and fixes it, and doesn't fix it and goes like, okay, 4 hours, I fixed it. No, she spends weeks and fixes it, and she talks about it, and she understands how to approach this. And it's 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 her life, as it is mine, and that as it is Anna. But when it's your life, it's what you think about every day, what you dream, what you
Yeah.
feel,
I
right?
get it.
But
Yeah.
she feels it a bit more than
You
us.
you know you said it earlier, and I knew Lynn superficially, and I really got to know her on this show, and she's like the culmination of what happens when you take a German who is genetically a machine, and then someone who studied chess, and someone who has a methodical, disciplined, organized approach, who is like happy to put the work in. Like she loves putting the, and that's a dangerous person. Someone who loves the labor and loves the grind and loves the sweat and blood and tears. The person who loves that, that becomes a dangerous, dangerous beast. It's because it's not just it's a craft, but it's the joy. I'm overusing that word this time around, but it's really that satisfaction of, and she becomes freaking scary, man. And I said freaking. She comes freaking scary. And when she beat the guy Tony Gashi, I think his name was. That dude was on fire, and he got to like fifth in open singles at that tournament. That guy was on fire. But Lynn is so well practiced and so methodical and so trained. No one was going to beat her at that tournament in pro singles. And I'll say one last thing about that. And I think there's another question in there. I'll say one last thing about that. There were a lot of there. I get to experience the masculine and even the toxic masculine attitudes that happen in foosball, and there are plenty of pro level players that like to talk about, like they will talk in small circles, and you hear the murmurings and you hear these conversations about women being the weaker players. And guess what? I have the incredible satisfaction of seeing Lynn win that event and knowing a whole bunch of pro players that have never won that event and could never win that event just kind of eat their words. It's kind of like, dude, this young lady from Germany just came in here and whooped everyone's ass. And guess what? You've never won pro singles, and you never freaking will. You never will. Anyway, I love that. So there's a question here. What's your favorite game format to play? Who wants to answer that question? Both of you?
She's decided. She decide.
Yeah.
For me, it's the multi-table format. The World Cup format is just perfect for me because I love Bonzini. I love playing Bonzini, but at the same time, I really, really like playing all the other tables. And I think I speak for both of us when I say this, that we have huge adaptability on the table. and that format actually favor favorite. I don't know how to say
Favors.
this word. Favors us a lot.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And for me it's just because I know every table has a different style because they are different, and that you can incorporate that in a world championship format, and I think that's amazing. I
Oh, it's
don't
just
think we have enough multi-table tournaments in Europe or in the world.
yeah.
We should have like more multi-table tournaments. It's
Yeah,
such a shame.
that's true.
I they're so fun. Yeah, it's for me the same answer. It has variety. It has so
Yeah.
much variety. It has it pushes people to the limits because you have to not only win but you have to adapt on the opponent's home table. This is why this is the most prestigious event, the multi-table.
Now, do you have a?
And
Go ahead. Go ahead,
no,
please.
I wanted to say there's so much diversity in this kind of events because so every country has their best players on a certain table, and they then you combine all of that, and not only as a player but also as a viewer. I think it's very interesting because you can get a lot of information out of it. You can see I don't know, someone playing on Garlando and doing stuff that you never imagined someone could do, and then you just gain all that information and can adapt it into your game. And I think that's the most beautiful part of football, and the multi-table format encourages it a lot.
We have another question. I want to get to that in a second, but I want to challenge you both with a sentiment, and I have my own opinion about the sentiment. My opinion is before I went to saw international foosball play, I didn't have a qualified opinion. And after I saw international foosball play, I felt like all the tables have beautiful skill sets and beautiful people that play those, and it's their style, and they've been playing with it, and it's lovely to have all that. That's how I felt after being exposed to it. You have a sentiment in the U.S. that the Bonzini table kind of sucks. It sucks. You can't set the ball up. It rattles. It's always different. The men are weird, and that's a sentiment that I've pretty much disassociated with because I have a different experience. But how do you respond to that? I mean, do you agree? Do you think the Bonzini table sucks, or do
Yeah.
you talk about
Totally.
it?
You
Yeah.
can't
Yeah,
set the
hilarious.
ball. You really can't set the ball. This is
So
why
funny.
Look.
Yeah,
We don't like Bonzini.
I
We play
do.
it because it's
funny.
such a cheat code to play on it because it's the hardest table to adapt on. We play it at home, so we don't need to adapt on it, but we're not great on it. There are far better Bonzini players than us. Wait, I'll send you a list.
The
Um,
French, like you can go,
the
yeah,
French, the Danish.
yeah.
That's about it.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
But the opponents are having such a hard time on it, such a
Yeah.
hard time, then it's like just a defense fest. Just wear them down until the forward scores.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Would you so you like Bonzini because it gives you an advantage in technical comfort level, but would you rather play on Tornado? I mean, or come on, give me some feedback here. What are we actually saying?
I think we have different answers here because
Yeah.
personally, while I agree Bonzini is terrible, I really like Bonzini. I really like Bonzini because it has a lot to offer if you can understand the table. I was actually having a joke with Tony that it's a table on which you can
It's
do.
Fredeman, of course,
Yeah.
who lives in
uh,
Romania.
yeah, we
Yeah.
both agreed that it's a table on which you can do everything and nothing at the same time.
Interesting.
It's
Huh.
it has
Yeah.
so much to offer, but at the same time, it's just so nothing works. It's And I
Yeah.
think that's actually why we have that much of an adaptability on other tables because we're used to playing Bonzini where nothing works and we just have to find a solution. We're like, okay.
Cati.
Yes.
No, what's your
Miriam made an interesting comparison at some point which stuck with me, and I think it's true. She said that this might be lost a bit over time, but it was basically that the Americans have like good technique, good speed, and this is true in my opinion. But we Europeans uh, lack that a bit, at least at not at the top level. So we make up for it by being a bit more inventive, live reading, solution finding, and other
Hmm.
things like that. So yeah, we adapt. For that we can adapt, and we constantly think, right? We're constantly looking for solutions rather
Interesting.
than try to do the same three
Options.
shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, options, and if they don't work, continue trying.
No, it's interesting. I got to think that one through. It's a very interesting idea. I don't want to get lost in time right now, staring off into space while 30 people look at me. But no, it's worth considering. All right, so hey, we got Krause in here, and we're coming up. It's 1 a.m. for you guys at least. Krause has a question. When will there be a tournament in Romania?
That's a good question.
Hopefully
Let's
next
hope for it.
year.
Yeah, we don't know yet, but we promise when it's going to happen that is going to be insanely fun,
We don't
Oh,
think
even
you
if
see,
it's
guys are ready
Bonzini.
for it. Nobody's ready because it will be
I'm ready.
genuinely the greatest tournament.
Oh, I
It's
get it.
When it
easy
comes
to
Yeah.
to
travel
fun,
here. It's easy to travel. It's easy to get to the airport. The city is cheap. Transportation is easy. There's all of the general logistics that you have to on normal tournaments of like going to the middle of nowhere, and you are at 12 after finish at midnight after finishing a tournament, and you can't find a taxi and you have to walk an hour.
or
No,
where
forget
to eat.
all of it. Or where to eat. Forget everything. It's so easy, so fun, and we will also make sure to offer
Party,
the
party.
necessary
The whole
standards.
experience. You know what? You guys have a tournament in Romania, and Toro may show up to party in Romania. I got and we got Rich, potentially winner, more likely spring. So he gives a flat out CEO answer. Uh, but we have a draw your partner on Wednesday in Underworld. Don't be late, please. So whoever that is, they're one of your buddies, I'm sure. Don't be late for the DYP on Wednesday.
Yes, we have a monthly DYP on Tornado on Wednesday in Underworld Club. If anyone is in Romania, last Wednesday of the month,
Yeah.
there's always a DYP in Underworld Club. We are waiting for you. Also,
Krause said, "Go ahead." I'm
very
listening.
fun.
Also, also very Krause. I don't want to overpromise anything. I wouldn't overpromise you, but I'll tell you what. I love the idea of it. I got one last thing because we're real late here on time. I want to throw one last thing at you. I've been working on a project for 2.5 years now, and that product has evolved and changed. One of the things I've been working on, and it's already figured out, but it's called the Lilith Invitational. And you guys familiar with who Lilith is? Have you ever heard of Lilith?
Lilith, yeah, like uh, the sister of the devil.
Kind of. So here, the story with Lilith is this. Lilith was Adam's first wife from the Garden of Eden. And Lilith was thrown out of Eden. Lilith was thrown out of Eden for disobeying man. And so she disobeyed mankind and got thrown out of Eden. I have a tournament called the Lilith Invitational. It's a women-only tournament, and it's a high entry fee tournament. And I'm just throwing this idea out to you. But imagine you guys seen the Thunderdome. You guys know what that is, right? It pays I think it pays around between $15,000 and $20,000 for 64 people. But if I have a Lilith Invitational, and it's obviously feasible for you guys to get there, it's a high entry fee 4-event tournament with a high payout. Just browsing the idea. Is that something that you might be interested in attending?
Depends on the
Yeah.
travel options.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
yes, because unfortunately for us to get there, it's also
yeah. What? But if it was in Europe, that'd be easier for you to get to.
For
Obviously.
sure.
obviously.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
There's
talking
no
we're talking
discussion.
50, 100 euros versus
Yeah.
2,000.
I'm just throwing the idea out there because I haven't spoken to you guys about this, but it's still ruminating, and it's. I think it'd be easier attended. When I thought about having this tournament in the United States and having the tournament in Europe, wow, man, there's some special players here in the United States, but the handful of them that really want to play will come to Europe. So I could fill this bracket with European players and a blockbuster. Anyway, I've somehow made this about me. I want to. I want to let you guys go to bed. I think you're going to go to bed, Cati, and you're going to go to the club or whatever you do, Anna,
Probably, yeah.
on a Friday night. That's awesome. I love that.
Can you put the Uber pinpoint to pick me
Yeah.
up?
We have
if
it,
you're
yeah.
going out?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Unless Rich, do you have your dancing pants on, Rich, or are you Fugar or whatever you call
Oh
it?
yeah, Rich is always ready with his dancing pants.
Is he ready?
He's the dancing pants king.
He really is. His moves are, oh, we
Does he
can't even
got-
describe.
You
Is
should
he-
see him steer the pot.
It says wearing them now. He said he's ready to go. Before we sign off here, you guys, have any last thoughts, any last ideas before you guys get on with your Friday night?
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it was a really big pleasure.
Well,
It's also probably almost we're close to the anniversary of the tournaments, and it's the first time we got the chance to speak about it.
Well, you guys, it's been it's been my pleasure to have you guys, and I'm going to find other reasons to get you guys back on. I think marketing and branding international foosball and getting people exposed is an important thing, and I think you guys are incredible ambassadors and super competitors, and I love watching you play. I mean, win or lose, I love watching you play. You guys are different, contrasting styles. I'm looking forward to having you guys back. And we got some thanks here for the show. What's planned for the next episode, Mark Krause? It's very random. I got a bunch of people on deck. I got Robert Mars. I got Tommy Atkinson. I got Tommy Orr Jr. I got all kinds of people on deck, buddy. So I will thank you for showing up. Everybody, thank you for showing up. We're going to sign off here. Friday night, man. Get your party on.
Thank you, everybody, so
Hey, man.
much.
Bye, everybody. Thank
See you
you,
soon.
Mark.
See you next time.
Bye.